The final speaker for the session today, and I think has a real meaning after this presentation by the Pactar Group, is establishing a global Pulse brand. And so I'd like to introduce and call to the stage Gordon Bacon, the Chief Executive Officer of Pulse Canada, as well as Dadia Luki, who is the brand administrator for the Pulse brand, and they're going to tell you about how you can get involved and actually put this brand on your future packages. So Gordon and Dadia, welcome.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and I couldn't think of a more appropriate place to move into the brand discussion than after having listened to the leadership provided by the Turkish government, not only within the country but at a global level. So I want to say thank you, and it's a privilege to be here in Turkey and be just feet away, meters away from 7,000-year-old lentils. So we really have come home to the place where the pulse industry started, and it's a privilege as a Canadian to be part of this. And Dadia and I, colleagues at Pulse Canada, who on behalf of the Global Pulse Confederation are administrators of the brand, would like to tell you about some of the things that we're doing to develop the Global Pulse brand. You know, I'm surrounded on a stage covered by companies' brands. You see them behind me. You see the logos and the brands of the companies who have helped put this convention on. Many of you, like me, may have flown here on Turkish Airlines, who has also a very unique brand, a brand that means to me brand new aircraft, very friendly staff, great in-flight service, a company that has built a brand. What I want to introduce to you today is the idea of us working together, very much like Turkish Airlines is part of Star Alliance, or all of these companies who are sponsors are all part of the Global Pulse Confederation. So while companies may be competitive in the marketplace, they work together to further their collective interests through groups like Global Pulse Confederation, which is the brand to bring the trade together, or in the case of Turkish Airlines, to be bringing the airlines together. What we've lacked up until recently in the pulse industry is a common front to work together to face consumers with. And as we have just seen in the video, we share many common interests. This video could easily have been done in English and showed in Canada because it addresses the very same kinds of issues that we face in Canada in terms of a focus on better nutrition, health, and a concern with environmental sustainability. So our opportunity today and going forward, because International Year of Pulses was just the start, our opportunity to go forward is to work together to build global demand and build global awareness of pulses, not only to increase production, but to increase consumption so that we can achieve the benefits that the video so capably illustrated. So what we're doing today is going to talk to you about the flag that I hope to see flying above all of your businesses. Just as you saw the flag that was indicating International Year of Pulses and the Turkish flag and the FAO banner, well, we have a new banner to fly high above all of your company flags and your logos. And what we want to do today, what Dadia and I want to do today, is tell you a little bit about the story of building a Global Pulse brand. Now, I've been told from protocol perspectives it's inappropriate to ever let a flag touch the ground, so I'm just going to take a minute to carefully fold this up and leave it with Dadia. That was my one prop for the whole presentation, so hope it went well. We've already saw through the video that the Pulse brand value is really about health, nutrition, and sustainability. These are common themes that unite us around the world, as we've heard from our speakers. These are concerns in the developing world where we have to enhance the level of nutrition, and in the developed and increasingly the developing world, the issues associated with obesity, cardiovascular disease, and diabetes. And as the videos have shown, we have tremendous opportunity to highlight the role that pulses can play in being a solution to some of society's biggest problems. The use of the brand, and you'll see it on the program and on the stage behind me, is already well known in terms of the promotion use of category. So the logo on the left is for promotion use, And you see in 2016, we're noting that this is International Year of Pulses. The version on the right is what has been developed for appearance on packaged foods. And I'd just like to get into a little bit more detail because there's a lot of background behind this brand. I'm going to go through the presentation very briefly, but Dadia Luki will be here for the entire convention. Dadia is the brand administrator, and I would encourage all of you to get in touch with Dadia about questions that will come up after my presentation. So the brand also has some space underneath that allows companies to customize, or people using it in a particular country to customize what may appear in addition to the brand. If we could advance the slide for me. In 2016, we'll just go ahead once, there we go. In 2016, you can see in the white space underneath, we've added 2016. That will disappear as the calendar turns to 2017. You have the opportunity to put different languages in. In Turkey, perhaps bakliyat would appear under this logo. In Spanish-speaking countries, perhaps legumbres, or in Portuguese-speaking countries, graus. The point I want to make is that the logo consists of the word pulses and the design, but we have the opportunity to add additional material which may be relevant to the market that we're using in. For on-package use, we see the potential to be having this brand appear on dry pack pulses, canned pulses, and a range of other company promotional material. And again, the brand is flexible in that it allows additional information, which is shown in this slide in red, some examples of potential additional information which could appear as part of the brand. The example on your right would show where a health claim, if the food product in which pulses were appearing met the legal requirements to be making a health claim about high in fiber, it would, for example, allow you to add that additional wording in the white space below the brand. I want to tell you a little bit about what we did in terms of developing the brand and a recommendation. We did it by a lot of consultation with a group of experts, both from the scientific field. We had an expert panel to come up with a recommendation on pulse consumption, and we also have an active brand advisory committee, and I'll just tell you a little bit about their roles. We developed an expert panel with experts from Africa, 2 from India, from Canada, the United States, and chaired by an additional person from Pulse Canada with a PhD in nutrition. And we asked for their input into developing a dietary recommendation for pulses. We gave them a great deal of information that included national food guidelines from around the world, intake studies which were developed by various countries and governments around the world, recommendations developed by World Health Organization and others, and a compositional database to understand the nutrition. And with all of this information, we asked them to come up with a professional academic definition and recommendation for pulse intake. This is the recommendation that our expert panel came up with. Their recommendation is that people, and I will use the Turkish example, who should eat pulses 3 times a week, should strive to achieve a 100-gram consumption of pulses, or half a cup of pulses, because at that level of pulse consumption, you will be, as a consumer, getting meaningful amounts of important and globally relevant underconsumed nutrients. It's a challenge to come up with a global recommendation because there's people like me who fall into the overweight category, and there's people who are undernourished. So a recommendation like this is designed to address the nutritional requirements and nutritional deficits of people around the world. So for companies that want to put the Pulse brand on their packaged food product, we want to make sure that each of those food products contains enough pulses to provide that significant level of consumption. So an expert panel, including input from the food industry, recommended that before a packaged food can contain the brand, it must meet both of these criteria. The pulses in the food product must be at least 5% of the final weight of the formula, and pulses must appear somewhere in the top 5 list of ingredients. I'm going over it quickly. Dadia is here to go over it in more detail if you're interested. I wanted to point out that the brand is administered by the Global Pulse Confederation, and currently the Brand Management Committee is chaired by Mr. Arslan, Mr. Hussein Arslan, who is also the president of Global Pulse Confederation, with representatives from India, Australia, Canada, and the United States. And it's this management committee that is making the decisions about the administration of the brand. There we have the list of the individuals, and I'm proud to say that I'm one of the representatives. I'm the representative from Canada currently on that brand management committee. I mentioned to you that we also have an advisory committee. These are the current members of the brand advisory committee. So we have grocery retailers, grocery manufacturers, food ingredient companies, pulse trading companies, and an assortment of companies from that are marketing into different regions of the world. The brand will now, we're ready to start rolling out the marketing of the global brand. It was introduced in Las Vegas last year. We've now developed a lot of the background, and we now have a marketing strategy. So the brand will be marketed in each country by the national association. So a group here in Turkey will be responsible for marketing the brand to Turkish companies and also to companies located in Turkey that may be marketing products around the world. And the same model will be used in Argentina and India and Japan and countries like Canada. So similar to the airline model of Star Alliance, we really are creating a global Pulse brand alliance. So individual groups will still pursue their own interests, but we will be part of an alliance that shares a common goal of increasing Pulse awareness and increasing Pulse consumption and being an effective voice for increasing Pulse production and research into production. Again, Dadia can go into more detail about what we're going to do. But we're also going to make a commitment as the Global Pulse Confederation to ensure that our consumer-facing awareness support programs continue strong. We've had tremendous social media uptake, and we have to continue this for the next 5 to 10 years. So pulses.org will remain as the primary consumer-facing site for consumers to go for more information. And if you haven't gone to pulses.org, I really want to encourage you to go have a look. And as a farmer and as an agronomist, I really encourage you to watch some of the production videos. And my congratulations to Turkey again, because if you go to the farmer section on These Are My Pulses, I encourage you to watch the Turkish farmer video. It's fascinating, richly rewarding, and makes you feel good about pulses. And again, I just want to encourage everyone to go to that pulses.org website and take a look at that. So we're going to have to continue to tell people around the world what pulses are, where they're grown. We need to continue to tell them why they should love pulses, why we will focus on health, nutrition, and environmental sustainability. And we need to continue to encourage them to consume pulses and give them both recipes and access to information about the food companies that are including pulses in their food products and those companies that are using the Pulse brand. So this, in a very quick overview, is how we plan to continue to message to people around the world, both within the food industry, government, and consumers, that pulses are the future of food, that we are relevant to many of the social issues that address people in every country of the world. And for more information, I'd encourage you in the next couple days to talk to Dadia, and for more email information, you can check out the websites, or you can email pulsebrand@pulses.org. And with that, Tim, I am going to turn the podium back over to you, and thank you very much for allowing me to flip through the presentation very quickly.
Well, thank you, Gordon and Dadia. Again, if you have any questions about the Pulse brand, Dadia is our brand manager for the entire globe, and of course, Gordon or myself can help you out in finding Dadia to answer those questions. So anyway, thank you very much. This ends our session for this afternoon. Just a couple of, I'd like to thank all of our presenters this afternoon. I do want to advise all the delegates that you would be invited to the Bueller event, which is going to be held here beginning at 4 p.m. at the Aristo Room, and that's on the first floor, so it's downstairs. I'd like to thank Yaila Agro for sponsoring our coffee break, which we're going to go enjoy right now. And again, there'll be some drinks and things like that at the Bueller event as well. So tomorrow, we get started at 10 o'clock. For those of you who are interested in some media training for the International Year of Pulse session, that's going to be in the Talis 11 room, which is also downstairs, and we want to invite you to attend that media training. We're going to start also at 10 o'clock in this room in the general session with our Global Green Lentil Outlook. So if you're interested in seeing what the high-priced lentils are going to do for the coming year, please come to that session tomorrow morning. So thank you very much for your attendance today, and have a good evening.